According to the research by social psychologist Dr. David McClelland of Harvard, the people you habitually associate with determines as much as 95% of your success or failure in life. It's a fact of life that some people hold us back while others propel us forward, which is why in this video we'll be talking about 6 types of negative people we need to ignore, and more importantly, how we should ignore them. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Downtown Success is dedicated towards giving out life-changing ideas that will make your journey towards success short and easy. The truth is, you can't hang out with negative people and expect to have a positive life. More importantly, if you do all the right things, but if you get around people who hold you to a lower standard, then you're more likely to fail. So who are these 6 types of negative people, and how do we ignore them? 1. The hopelessly hostile drama queen. We all have friends who are drama queens, who are very charismatic, colourful and compelling, and sweep us up into their personal melodramas. They need you to help solve some urgent problem, so you do, and then there's another problem and another, until you realise that for these people, problems are a way of life. They want an audience. They crave attention, using urgent problems to control you. By responding to their demands, your life becomes hijacked by their daily dramas. They may seem weak and helpless, but these people are master manipulators. They follow a specific pattern. They often use flattery by convincing you that you are the only one they could count on to solve their problems. They ambush you by appealing to your sympathy, your ego, your desire to be a good person. But if for some reason you can't satisfy their demands, or the moment you're not available, they will call you selfish and find someone else. Drama queens violate the primary rule of good relationships, which is a balance of give and take, nourished by mutual listening, empathy, interest and respect. Drama queens crave admiration and attention, but can't or won't give it back. Psychiatrists say that drama queen behaviour is wired into the brain due to a varying combo of genetics, trauma or other environmental factors. There is nothing much we could do to change them, but we could change our behaviour and keep ourselves from being drained by a person who asks a lot without contributing by following these steps. 1. Set boundaries. Set boundaries around them and don't let them overstep them. For example, if the person treats you as their personal 911 hotline, no matter the hour, lay out a strict schedule of your availability. 2. Avoid asking a drama queen how they're feeling. Drama queens are dramatic by nature and need an audience for this. Asking someone you know is a drama queen how they're doing usually leads to trouble. This can invite a drama queen to vent or complain, so try to minimize interactions that encourage sharing. 3. Don't reward their drama. The drama queen is seeking attention and will likely drag anyone who bites into a spiral of drama. Instead of responding, focus on your own work. If necessary, say something like, "Sorry you're feeling bad, but I've got work to do." 4. Replenish yourself. To recharge after an encounter with a drama queen, go for a walk or meditate or put on your headphones and blast your favourite tunes. Don't dwell on the drama because it will only keep you in the negative zone. 5. When all else fails, distance yourself. When everything fails and you're still at the end of your rope, you might have to cut ties. Tell them that you need time alone to focus on you right now. You'll have to fight off guilt, especially if it's a close relationship. But ultimately, if things are going to change, we can only change ourselves. The second type of person we need to ignore is the person you have failed to please 100 times before. We've all been in a situation with someone who is intimidating and demanding, and we nervously try to keep the peace by going along with anything they wanted, trying to keep them happy. No matter what we do, it's just not enough. You may think that pleasing them will make them happy and comfortable and make you likeable and easygoing. You may think you are the nicest person if you never say no, but it's an extremely unhealthy pattern of behaviour. It will make you feel lost, confused and pretty unlikable. When you go through life as a pleaser, you aren't living on your own terms. You think you're being nice, agreeable and drama-free, but keeping your true self beneath the surface doesn't do anyone any favours. It just results in you being surrounded by rude, selfish and unforgiving people who, instead of appreciating that you've put their needs first, treat you like a doormat. You need to ignore the person you have failed to please 100 times before because they are simply never going to appreciate or even going to notice your efforts, but will always find an opportunity to criticize you when you can't fulfill their slightest of demands. You need to stop pleasing that person. You can deal with them by changing your attitude towards them by 1. Dealing with your feelings. Ask yourself, why do you want to please someone? Is it because you want them to be happy, or is it because deep down inside you're afraid and insecure? People might please others because they want to avoid internal bad feelings such as fear of rejection, fear of disappointing others, fear of criticisms, loneliness and guilt. 2. Assess your priorities. Whenever that person you have been pleasing asks you for anything, you automatically jump in and say yes before thinking if you really want to do that thing. You may feel obligated to say yes because that response becomes the right thing to do, but for all the wrong reasons. Next time a situation arises, consciously stop to think about it before you commit to doing it. Thinking consciously takes work and practice. 3. Speak up for what you want. There's nothing wrong with voicing your opinion, and it doesn't have to mean you're making a demand. Simply reminding people that you're an individual with your own preferences is a big step forward. If you tend to please people by going along with what other people want instead of voicing your likes or dislikes, speak out. 4. Learn how to say no. If you tend to always say yes to things even when you don't want to, or when situations cause you stress, start saying no. It might take some practice, but let people know when you can't do what they want. There's no need to make excuses or talk your way out of it. A simple no or no thank you will do. The third type of person you need to ignore is the naysayer, who always dumps on your dreams. Mahatma Gandhi once said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. Are there any naysayers in your life? Someone who is perhaps discouraging you from pursuing your goals and dreams? Someone who thinks that you're joking and says it's impossible when you share your grand plans for your future? Someone who sabotages you when you try to cultivate a new habit or quit a bad habit? Someone who is keeping you from achieving your highest potential? If yes, then you need to ignore them, because if you give in and let their negativity convince you of who you are, their madness will wither you away. You will morph into what they say you are, rather than living honestly as yourself. In this way, these people will steal your life from you. You'll lose track of where their opinion ends and your reality begins. So here are ways you can deal with a naysayer. 1. Redirect them. Some naysayers offer unsolicited opinions about your activities, which can be incredibly annoying and distracting. In this case, politely point out that you're not looking for their input and suggest they spend their time focused on improving their own situation. 2. Give them credence. Tell them you'll take their thoughts under consideration and report back to them on your experience. You could argue with them, but why waste energy you could apply in productive ways? 3. Answer their objections. Naysayers who spout negativity with no basis are the most annoying of all. If they are speaking beyond their own knowledge, they deserve to be challenged. So do your homework. Make a point of showing them facts and not opinions that strongly support your approach. 4. Eliminate them. If these people are constantly bringing you down, by all means stop hanging out with them. Find a new job if you must, or quit going to family gatherings. No one should have to suffer through the misery of other people inflicting negativity for its own sake. The fourth type of person you need to ignore is the manipulator. We all know people who will say and do anything, thoughtlessly, to get others to do what they want them to do. These people routinely prioritize their own feelings and needs over and above everyone else's. They'll demand that you bend over to help them, but if heaven forbid you need help, they'll not be able to stand it. Beware of these manipulators who try to use their negativity to intimidate and manipulate your thoughts. The manipulator deliberately creates an imbalance of power and exploits the victim to serve his or her agenda. Don't accept this behavior as normal, and instead follow these steps. 1. Avoid self-blame. Since the manipulator's agenda is to look for and exploit your weaknesses, it's understandable that you may feel inadequate, or even blame yourself for not satisfying the manipulator. In these situations, it's important to remember that you are not the problem. You're simply being manipulated to feel bad about yourself. 2. Put the focus on them by asking probing questions. Manipulators will make requests or demands of you. These demands often make you go out of your way to meet their needs. When you hear an unreasonable solicitation, it's sometimes useful to put the focus back on the manipulator by asking a few probing questions. Like, does this seem reasonable to you? Or, does what you want from me sound fair? To see if he or she has enough self-awareness to recognize the inequity of their scheme. 3. Use time to your advantage. In addition to unreasonable requests, the manipulator will often also expect an answer from you right away. During these moments, instead of responding to the manipulator's request right away, consider leveraging time to your advantage by saying, "I'll think about it." Take the time you need to evaluate the pros and cons of a situation and consider whether you want to negotiate a more equitable arrangement, or if you're better off by saying no. 4. Keep your distance. One way to detect a manipulator is to see if a person acts with different faces in front of different people and in different situations. Manipulators tend to habitually dwell in extremes, being highly polite to one individual and completely rude to another, or totally helpless one moment and fiercely aggressive the next. It's not your job to change or save them, so if you can't deal with them, keep your distance from them. The fifth type of person we need to ignore is the stubborn one, who insists you should be someone else. Unfortunately, families and old friends often fail to recognize how you've changed and grown over the years. They also tend to label you in an unfair way, based on who you used to be, and it's easy to end up conforming to these labels because you remember when they were true. In the long run, it's always better to be disrespected for who you are rather than for who you're not. In fact, the only relationships that work well are the ones that make you a better person without changing you into someone other than yourself, and without preventing you from outgrowing the person you used to be. The only way you can ignore such stubborn ones is by ignoring their opinions. When you ignore their opinions and decide to be who you are instead of what they want you to be, you open yourself up to real love, real happiness, and real success. There is no need to pretend to be someone you're not. You don't have control over what others think about you, but you do have control over how you decide to internalize their opinions. Leave them to their own judgments. Don't feel threatened, and don't conform just to please them. Let people love you for who you are and not for who they want you to be, or let them walk away if they choose. The sixth type of person we need to ignore is the unforgiving friend who refuses to forgive you for your mistakes. We all have someone who continuously judges us by your past, holds it against us, and refuses to forgive us. If someone refuses to support you as you grow beyond your past mistakes, they are now the one who's making a mistake. Holding on to the unchangeable past is a waste of energy and serves no purpose in creating a better day today. Mistakes are part of growing. If someone continuously judges you by your past, holds it against you, and refuses to forgive you, you might have to repair your present and future by leaving them behind and making sure you 1. Forgive yourself. Think about the last time somebody sincerely apologized to you. Did you forgive them? Chances are you did. Now think about the last time you hurt someone else. Have you forgiven yourself? Probably not. The reality is, forgiving yourself is much harder than forgiving someone else because you're stuck with that negative little voice in your head all the time. 2. Try self-love. You've probably been pretty hard on yourself, but it's time to move away from the past and start moving towards self-love. You're more than your past mistakes. 3. Learn from your mistakes and improve yourself. An important part of forgiving yourself is understanding where you went wrong with the person you've hurt or offended. Understand what you did wrong, acknowledge it, and work on it so that it never happens again. Ignoring negative people doesn't mean you hate them or that you wish them harm. It just means you care about your own well-being. Because every time you subtract negativity from your life, you make room for more positivity. Click on the card above to see what type of people you need to spend time with if you want to achieve success. Comment below about the type of person you want to ignore and how do you want to do that. Also, please don't forget to subscribe.